Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Board of Education meeting. If you'd please stand for the pledge. I'd like to have a moment of silence for the following individuals. Lorraine Maloney, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Lawrence Sager, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. John Bolton Jr., a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. And Leslie Lanning, a retiree of the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. A couple of presentations this evening. Our first one is the 26-27 draft of the school district safety plan. So, Kate, come up, welcome.
As Mike said, my name is Kate Loveland-Keen. I'm the Director of Security. Mike Bonville is our BOCES safety officer who really wanted to be here, but his little baby is one on earth that trumps the Board of Education. So congratulations to Mike on his new addition. So I will try and answer any questions that might come up in Mike's world. First, the New York State requirements. As you can see, it is required for public review and comment. We have 30 days. It's an overview. It's like a 30,000 foot view, purposely not releasing any confidential information. General prevention and intervention has the general response protocols that we use from I Love You Guys Foundation, policies for training and drills, and communication directly to families. Annually, we have a great committee that updates any content. As New York State likes to throw some things at us, we make sure we're in with compliance. It's always on the website. I'll share that at the very end, and it's always accessible to community members. It's just a framework, and it is a fluid document. It can be updated at any point. It does get presented for that 30 days, and it must be approved by the Board of Education. So those are all our requirements by New York State. But this is kind of our philosophy, or at least my philosophy, and what I try to really instill in our entire district and community. It's that it's just not a requirement. It's literally what allows our students and staff to serve and to learn. So that's kind of how we are doing a slight cultural shift with some of these things. So our goals, as I like to say, advancing our true north. First and foremost, we have to instill a security and safety culture that encompasses everybody. 100% of our community needs to be represented and accounted for. We need to establish these strategies to mitigate risk, prevent violence. This is our prevention, like clause, you could say. And then we also have our response. So if there is a crisis, we have to make sure that we have the strategies to remain flexible, but also for our entire community. And then on top of that, we have to plan for the recovery. So we have our prevention, our response, and our recovery. And it is to make sure that our community can get through anything together whole. So here is the state updates. Thankfully, the state has not thrown any curveballs at us this year. Very limited structural changes. That cardiac emergency response protocol was permanently added. It was something that we amended, I believe, in October of last year, when that was also a last minute curveball from the state. Mike Bonval has done a great job with increasing Red Cross. He does the Red Cross training. We have some amazing staff that have stepped up for additional training opportunities for them, even if they aren't mandated to have AED training. The awareness, however, and just the knowledge of what cardiac arrest can look like is mandated for all staff. And then we have a great coordination with our first responders on where our AEDs are. They also carry AEDs and just how they can respond in a timely fashion. Finally, we're adding our SRO, SPRO, which is just a fancy way of saying our retired police officers in our elementary schools will be fully executed. Red tape goes a little bit slow sometimes in our government world, so that's not quite fully executed yet. So our North Syracuse updates, obviously this role, thank you, Board of Ed, was added in January 2026. And it's also, I now encompass the Chief Emergency Officer with our compliance and our training. They're really focusing on a second nature to security. Security should not be scary. It should just be second nature to us. It should be we're fundamentally shifting to integrate security into, for example, any of our protective status. If we have a hold in place or anything like that, we should always be taking attendance. So anytime any protective action is called, we take attendance. So that way, if we do ever have to evacuate, our schools are continually taking as we move every 20 minutes or when we move to account for our students. And if we just make that as part of our regular, if we do have a medical emergency at one of the schools and we take attendance, it just becomes second. Doors are locked, it becomes second nature, and then it's not so scary. And along with that, we're really trying to empower our staff. Know that we have this under control as a district, but that we trust them to follow their protocols, to keep our children safe, and to go through all of these emergency protocols with us. So we are really empowering them and working through the what if scenarios and listening to them on what do you need, like you can do your job better. So that way, in case of an emergency, you are thinking through these protocols very easily. That again, it's just second nature. So we've had a lot of those trainings, which we have been very well attended, and they're wonderful. Our staff brings up a lot of great questions. I don't live in all of the buildings. I could not be in all of them, and they bring up some great ideas. But what's next? A 30-day public comment. It starts today, and our anticipated adoption date is September 28th. And that will go through Mike Bonval into our NICED portal. And again, this is a living document. So comments, I'm going to leave all of my are welcome throughout the year. Please, please, please contact me. I like to know what the community is thinking and what else we can add to what we already have going on. Here's our district site. I know it's a little bit harder to see with the link right there, but it's just nscsd.org/safety. Here's all my contact information. You can contact the DO at any number and they'll be able to get you. And that's it. And here's my AI photo. Like Dr. Word back there, which.
Okay, that's the same haircut.
Wish my hair looked like it.
I just wanted to say, I did mention this a couple of board meetings ago, but you weren't here. So we wanted to thank you for, first of all, everything you do, but especially this summer with our reunification training. Is the first training that I think we have ever had as far as unification goes in case we ever need something like that. So you're doing a great job. So thank you for keeping us safe.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. And please thank Mike for us. All right, next we have our culturally responsive and sustaining education presentation. So welcome. Thank you, Jen. Have him use the mic.
All right, hello board. So first, while we're talking, we have an activity for you all to do. So there's paper and supplies in front of all of you. So while we're talking, just using the resources that each of you have, to the best of your ability, we'd like you to complete a drawing of the North Star logo.
Anko, Director of Student Services, and I'm here with my colleague. Allowing us to be here and for the opportunity to share the work that we have done and happening across the North Syracuse Central School District related to the culturally responsive sustaining education. We're going to share some of the partnerships, some of the things that have strengthened this work, the impact that we're seeing with students and staff, recommendations for continuing this work. And obviously our focus is to remain aligned with our district mission and really knowing our students and valuing who they are and maintaining the high expectations. As you can see, the CRSE framework connects with our mission, vision, and principles. Every student achieves, belongs, and is supported. So everything in CRC begins with that. And this work is not an additional initiative. It's not a separate program. It's a strategy that supports the goals that are already identified. And it helps us create classrooms which leave students feeling more safe, respected, and connected while also maintaining those high expectations. Know that when students feel a sense of belonging, that they're more likely to take academic risks, experience things that they might not have felt secure to do prior. It creates a more welcoming school environment and it builds a culture of belonging.
So this slide represents the work that we've been doing strategically and thoughtfully over the last 3 school years, so that we can be intentional in creating, culturally responsive learning spaces here in our district. And I just want to point out kind of a couple of highlights that we've had. One is our partnership with OCM BOCES. Yanir Stoker has been a great thought partner and trainer for us, as well as NYU Metro Center. And they've trained 2 cohorts of staff or for 5 to 6 days of really intense content on how to engage with diversity in a really skillful way.
We definitely would like to thank our colleagues that were part of the CRSE work too. Without them, they were turnkeying a lot of this information. So the next slide really captures our overall approach. Our focus is not on implementing another initiative. It's about building the capacity of our own staff, which takes time. And so I know, the year 1, it was more like, we know we need this, but now what do we do? And then after the past several years, we've intentionally invested in professional learning, restorative practices, inclusion, and we have very strong partnerships, which we'll talk about in a future slide. But also this is about creating systems that are going to last, because we know sometimes, there's initiatives that happen one and done, and we don't want that. We want to continue this work and make sure that even new employees know that, it values belonging, respect, and high expectations.
So this slide represents a visual of 2 key trainings that we're going to roll out across the district. So the first visual on your left is deconstructing harmful language. So by the end of this calendar year, all the principals are going to be rolling this out to all the staff, and some of us have already been trained. And then the right side of the slide is the NICET understanding implicit bias and stereotypes. So a bunch of us staff have been trained to be trainers and have delivered this. And this past school year, we had everyone from the junior high and the high school participate in this training. And by the end of June, like the elementary schools and the middle schools will get this training. So this is our attempt at building a common language and understanding so that, all staff can be, supportive and engaged with diversity in positive ways.
Left a little card in front of all of you so that you have that, and linked in this presentation as the actual presentation for both students and staff so that everyone is able to see. Next, we have to thank all the partnerships because without them, we couldn't do what we do. One of the greatest strengths has been that we haven't had to do this alone. And that's really important because we intentionally partnered with very respected, either local, regional, or national organizations. And together, they've helped us strengthen the professional learning. So our partnerships, especially with, OCM BOCES and NYU, SU, ACR Health, you can see all of them. Are really important in providing that professional learning and opportunities.
So these photos up here represent some trainings that we did this past May with Interfaith Works, who's a strong community organization, and they led family student dialogue groups with our parents and our students at the Rocks campus, just to get families talking about, kind of the identities within their families and difference, and just building strong communication, because we know that strong communication is so important to building diverse learning environments.
And I was lucky to be involved in the high school group with Interfaith Works. It was a dialogue group at the high school. And some of the themes, just so you know, building trust and exploring identity, listening to understand, not respond, suspending judgment and learning across differences, and understanding to action. Next, we have both student and staff reflections. So I'll talk a little bit about student and Chow will talk about staff. We won't read all of these to you, obviously, but I think you can see the themes. I love the first one. Leadership starts with knowing who I am before trying to lead others. So these are student comments, and there's just, obviously you can see the themes that they felt like they weren't being judged, that they finally had, a safe space to talk about and felt like they were being listened to.
So the staff quotes to your right represent our second cohort that just ended this past school year. And it was really profound experience for the first cohort and the second cohort, just to have such in-depth knowledge and opportunity to reflect and discuss, some things that are hard to discuss and they don't necessarily have time. So, and some of them are really excited about this work and want to become trainers and, roll out CRSE within their classrooms, in their buildings. And so we're really excited that we have staff across the district who are skilled at, encouraging conversations about how to deal with diversity in a positive way. Oh, and this slide, as you all know, last time you heard about Portrait of the Graduate, and I just want to pinpoint to you that at the center of Portrait of the Graduate is culturally responsive, sustaining education. So again, if we want our students to be global citizens, for example, or effective communicators, then we need to, build supportive environments and give them the tools to engage with, diversity and difference and community.
Next, this is talking about our support for the CRSE over time. And so looking ahead, we obviously want to continue professional development and supporting curriculum alignment. We have, people looking through textbooks. We have a list on your table about just some of the offerings that were offered the last couple years. Those are the student services office, but there's plenty more that have been out of our special ed office, out of our curricular offices, just so you have an idea of some of the things, because obviously you can't see them all here. And we want to continue communicating with, staff, families, the board, and invite people to do the learning with us. This is a quote that I thought was impactful. We had community schools came and did a presentation for us on parent engagement. And this is something that was on their slide deck. And I was like, wow, this really just kind of speaks to everything really comes from the leadership at the top. So if we want families to be engaged with schools and if we want to be more responsive, then, it starts with leadership. And next we have our CRSE related resources. So these will take time to dive into, so we won't get to all of them today, but Jill has thoughtfully been able to click for me a little bit. SU Community of Practice, I'll let people look at that on their own. That was basically a bunch of administrators. Syracuse University leads this community of practice, and we are all able to find something in our school district that we want to talk more about. And you have thoughtful administrators around the table saying, oh, this is what I did, and let me give you some thoughtful advice. And, there's book studies and speakers. Belonging by Design is Shannon Knapp's beautiful summer sabbatical presentation, and she created this website so that if someone is having an event in their school district, they will be able to look at planning checklists. How can you plan, ahead with AI? What are some project resources? Just things that you might not always think about when you're having a presentation, or like maybe you need a space where a child can go, where it's quiet. So all of these things are right on our website and beautifully designed, and we keep adding to them as we find other resources. And then the deconstructing harmful language, which we spoke about earlier, that's just gives the presentation. There is a student version and a staff version, and so that is all there for anyone to look at. I know sometimes the board gets a PDF, but we're happy to share anything that you'd like to see in further detail. And then here's just a couple other resources. Here's just a Google Classroom that we started, and this is NYU's next. They're going to have an asynchronous topics that staff will be able to take on their own, and then in person we'll have our own staff being able to talk about those topics, because it's very important to be able to speak about them, and then how are we going to put them into practice. And the best part of this, my favorite part, this is why we're all here, right? I'm going to invite our SCORE student leaders to come up and introduce themselves. And they're going to finish talking about why they really decided that they wanted to participate in SCORE, and talk a little bit about this activity and what they learned this summer. So this is the best part to me.
All right, hello everyone. My name's Sam. I'm part of the SCORE program this year, Student Coalition on Race and Equity. So I joined SCORE because SCORE is dedicated to dismantling oppression in Onondaga County and our community. And in a time with so much inequity and oppression, I wanted to be able to make a positive change in my community. During it, I was trained in things like finances, mental health, how past issues affect issues we still face today. I was trained how to give presentations on things like implicit bias and unequal access to resources, which are things that we still see today in this district. And I gained a lot of knowledge and perspective, and I got to meet a lot of people from different school districts, and I was grateful to be able to take a part in it.
My name is Milani Darby, and I'm a junior at CNS. And I first joined SCORE because I wanted to advocate for the minorities in our school, and most importantly, the minorities in our community.
My name is Maya Burden, and
Okay, so this activity that you guys were all doing, it shows how, usually this activity would be done in groups. So it would be like a group of whatever, and it would show how you guys can come together and use the resources that are available to you to be a project, but think of it in a community sense. And so this activity shows how, communities will come together.
I think that this activity can be important for how to keep schools
all didn't, I don't know if you guys realize, but not all of you guys had the same exact stuff in the folders. So that would basically explain how you guys would come together and use the you guys might not have a pencil or a marker that someone else had. You can still make something out of it.
Okay, I just want to say, thank you for really helping our school district move this very important work forward. It's super important. I know you gave up some summertime to do this. It's pretty extensive training, right? We appreciate you and look forward to your help this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, next we have our 21st Century Grant Rising Rock Stars program presentation. So welcome, thank you.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Chow Lee. I'm director of the Rising Rock Stars program, and I'm joined here with my fabulous colleague, Tim Carter, from the YMCA. All right, because I noticed that there's some new board members in the room. So Rising Rock Stars is funded by the 21st Century Community Learning Centers grant. So we received this grant 4 years ago. We're in our 5th year, and we're one of 152 entities within New York State who've received this 5-year grant. And really the purpose of this is to give opportunities to students and families, and our vision is to create spaces for students to really develop their social emotional skills and academic skills, and just develop their confidence and having a sense of belonging and community. And just, in this day and age with like cell phones and social media, it's really rare to find in-person live spaces for students to connect and build community. And I feel like that really helps their mental well-being, is to be in person with each other, interacting and having fun. And we couldn't do this fabulous program without our partners. So the YMCA of Central New York, Contact Community Services, Liberty Resources, and LPB Consulting, which is our evaluator. So we seen, kind of growth in terms of students that want to register for the program. So the yellow represents their summer registrations, and the blue represents registrations that we've had during the school year. So at our highest was in the 2nd year of the grant. And this next slide, this is the most important slide because this is a pay for performance grant. So we have to get 95% of 554 students. So that's about 32 students to have 15 plus hours in the program, because if we don't reach that goal, we don't get the money. So it's very important. And this past year, school year 25-26, we reached 97%. So this has been really cool. And from year 2 to year 3, we had like 97% of the students that started year 2 came back in year 3. And then from year 3 to year 4, we had 46.5% retention. And for students that started in our very first year in the 22-23 school year, about 40 students are still remaining. So they started off at Roxelle and then continued to Rox Middle. So that's about 11.5%. So this next slide talks about the students who've had 30 plus hours within Rising Rock Stars. So the state asks us to give academic data. So this slide shows you students with 30 or plus hours, percentage of students who it showed improvement in their Ames Web scores in math and reading from the fall to the spring. So our school day teachers are doing a fabulous job supporting our students to learn, but I like to think, having them be in school with Rising Rock Stars doesn't hurt their academic performance either. And this slide talks about the students with 30 or plus hours in our program who you know, they had a GPA of below 3.0 in sixth grade, and then in seventh grade, they improved. So in school year 23-24, we had 15 students, or 54%, that got a better grade in seventh grade than sixth grade. And in 24-25, that was 65%. And this past school year, we actually had 16 students. And the reason for like the fluctuation is some students started in sixth grade and they moved out of the district, or they're no longer with us, so we can't count those grades. So I wanted to highlight our program. We both have it at Rocks L and Rocks Middle. So at Rocks L, we have a morning program before school and then after school. So some highlights that we had where we took the kids to the most. We went to Kraus to visit hospital land. So the kindergartners got to dress up like doctors and nurses and really see what being in a hospital is like. We had Beaver Lake come and do a fun beaver activity with the kids. And we do a lot of family engagement activities throughout the school year. And we had a joint cooking night where I taught everybody how to make sushi, California rolls. And then the kids also gathered a whole bunch of donations to give to the dog shelter through Helping Hounds. And they brought dogs, and it was really a fun time for the kids. And this summer, it ended 2 weeks ago now. We had some cool field trips to the zoo in Oneida Shores. And this is our first time inviting families to come to Oneida Shores. And we had like, I don't know, 20 plus families come to like meet us and hang out with their kids on the beach. And we had the most perfect day. And also one of our parents at Roxelle works at Kraus Health, and she connected us to Dr. Viren Call, who's chair of medicine. And he came in and did a really cool presentation for the elementary school and the middle school and brought all these props to learn about different parts of the body. And they got to touch the, I don't know what machine that's called. It was very cool. And also Book Van Gogh, this is their third or fourth summer with us, coming to give free books for the students.
And I can give some highlights of the things that we've been doing at the middle school program, some new field trips that we've been on, building more of a relationship with the Everson Museum, as well as the Fayetteville YMCA, which is a great place to go in the winter because they have the pool and kids can swim. At the Everson, they got a chance to have a docent lead them around, but also, you know, the Everson has an education area, so they were able to make, you know, sculptures inspired by some of the pieces that they have in the Everson. Dr. Ward came and did an amazing version of The Price is Right, where we could see if middle schoolers knew how much their iPhones cost and things like that. And they did surprisingly well. We've also had some other folks come in, like Senator Chris Ryan, and kind of continuing building some connections with other groups that kids really love, like the good folks at Retro Game Con. They come in and do a family game night, and kids play Guitar Hero and all these really, really old games, and they learn how difficult they were back in the day, like Donkey Kong. But some highlights from the summer camp is, you know, inviting in Micron for a STEM day, making cars, and sending a group of our seventh graders over to the Salina Community Center to get a look at the space and play a little bit of cornhole and basically do a feedback circle and kind of talk about some things that they would like to see in there when it starts to get built out more. And like Chow was saying at the start of this, with some of the value of after school as we see it is kids being kind of away from their phones with their friends, being themselves, you know, choosing what they want to do. And kind of with that in mind, we wanted to find a way to involve more parents. So we tried doing a summer book club, and we were reading The Anxious Generation, which by Jonathan Haidt, which kind of talks about some of that, just the value of letting kids be playing with each other and kids being kids.
So this is the last this coming school year is the last year of that we have the grant. But we are hopeful that the state will issue another RFP so that the school district can apply. And so we're making preparations for that, having conversations with different community partners. We're going to survey families and students. And for this coming school year, we're going to continue with what we did over the summer, whereas incorporating some of the portion of the graduate attributes, so effective communicator, global citizen, reflective and future focused, and a creative innovator to our daily after-school activities. And we also want to enhance our family engagement activities to include some of this portrait of graduate stuff, because we know that, developing these skills just don't happen at school, they happen at home and throughout life. And we're excited. In October 19th, we're going to have Micron do a family STEM day. So we're really, really excited about that. And this is a quote from Amelia's mom. So Amelia started with us in 3rd grade, and now she's going into 6th grade. And, she especially loves the extra time to socialize and hang out with her friends, learning new skills and participating in all sorts of activities. I love the flexibility that the program provides for working parents. Rising Rock Stars has been a true lifesaver for a family for years. This picture on the bottom to the right is Isaac. So Isaac was part of Rising Rock Stars, and this summer he actually volunteered the whole summer with our 1st grade camp. And we're excited that this coming school year, we're going to have Cameron Miller, who is a senior at CNS, who's part of the jazz band. His brother went to Rising Rock Stars for the last 3 years, and he's going to volunteer and teach music because since Donna Marie has retired, she taught the recorder for us for the last several years. And so we don't have her anymore. So we found another cool person to support our program. So thank you. We'll take any questions.
Questions from the board?
Just a comment. I love visiting your program. Kids are always smiling, always talking to each other. It looks chaotic, but it's controlled chaos. And so that's the type of classroom that I ran when I was a teacher. So I appreciate seeing that, but you guys do a great job. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Move into the comments from the audience portion of tonight's meeting. We have a full slate, so I would just ask that everyone please be respectful of your 3 minutes. I don't want to gavel you. I hate to interrupt, but if the alarm goes off and you're in the middle of a sentence, just finish that sentence. And if you want to hand in any comments you have to our district clerk, it will get to the entire board. So not trying to be rude if we have to cut you off. So first up, we have Tim Ellsworth. Welcome. Just press the button to turn that green and you're good to go.
Hi, my name is Tim Ellsworth. My topic today around safety and health of athletes, specifically as it relates to the multi-purpose room as it is on. I read through a little bit of the utilization plan study. I didn't see anything in there. Ninth graders up. I didn't see anything in there specifically around the multi-purpose room being purposed. There has been some speculation and rumors. But that room goes by a different name for a lot of the wrestling program as the wrestling room. So we wanted to get ahead of that, have that conversation. maybe call out some things, maybe some unintended consequences. Again, apologies for the speculation and dealing with some of that. Displacing the wrestlers from that room, I think I'll try to leave you guys with three things: health and opportunity. Safety, meaning that room is specifically engineered, I think 25 years ago, with padded walls, mats that are engineered, just recently replaced, perfectly seamed, aren't open gaps, preventing head injuries, twists, turns, ankles, perfectly fitted for that room. I think rolling out mats and hoping have that environment is a very high expectation that we would follow. Secondly, health. On the door of that room, there is a sign that says no street shoes. Wrestling by nature is skin-to-skin contact, comes with consequences that we try to deal with. Ringworm, impetigo, leading to MRSA. Our district has had no problems with that. Recently, surrounding schools have dealt with litigation, athletes missing time, leading to Section 3 votes, NSFA votes, to get athletes eligible again. Even surrounding districts dealing with hospitalizations around MRSA. Thirdly, opportunity. That room does house our boys and girls youth program, K through 12. But our youth program, that's the feeder program. I think that program would be eliminated completely. That room were repurposed. We would now no longer have a home. Pre-COVID, we had 85 boys and girls. We're slowly building back up. We're up to 50 at this point. And one of the things that, as part of the program that I'm very proud of, is the growth of the women's sport. It's NSCSD sanctioned for the last 2 years. The roster has grown from 8 to 17 to over 30 girls, and that would completely eliminate the youth program. Thanks for the quick time and dealing with the speculation, but again, we want to get ahead of it because
Okay, next we have Jesse Conklin. Welcome. You pushed the button again. It was our.
Okay. All right. Similar subject. I want to talk about the wrestling room as well. So good evening, members of the school board. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. In 2021, I voted in favor of the district's proposed capital project that included a $17 million pool. I'll always vote to improve facilities for our students and our student athletes. Now, though, before pool construction is even completed, I'm shocked to learn the district may remove existing facilities from our wrestlers. I can't fathom why taking away from our kids is a lever we're willing to pull. Bigger than simply where wrestling practice takes place, I'm asking you to consider the real cost of removing a dedicated wrestling space from our school. Excuse me. Eliminate a dedicated wrestling room may appear to be a reasonable way to find space, but we need to look beyond the immediate budget line. When we remove a space specifically designed for wrestling, we don't just eliminate the need for that space, we just move the need and cost somewhere else. Wrestling requires a safe, consistent environment. Mats need to be properly maintained and set up correctly. When wrestlers are forced to practice in spaces designed for other activities, there are additional costs and scheduling challenges. Finding gym time at CNS is already very, very difficult. The increased operational burden of moving wrestling practice to a shared space is very real. Wrestling requires at least 6 hours of gym time every day. That's just an hour for setup, 2 hours for varsity practice, 2 hours for JV practice, an hour to break it down. And that's just practice. That's not tournaments and weather delays and what schedule changes, competitions. So I don't know where that time comes from. Transferring 30 hours every week from a dedicated space to the most heavily utilized athletic space in the building, I think alone makes this option a non-starter. Wrestlers can't construct daily the safe facility the district should require them to practice on. So that means we're requiring another minimum 10 hours a week just for practice for the custodial staff to move, properly set up tape, disinfect mats, place equipment, and after practice, remove the equipment, break down, move, and properly store the mat. Wrestling mats require appropriate storage and regular cleaning and maintenance. The school has repeatedly moved and reconfigured them. we increase wear and tear and we reduced it. Greatest cost is impact on the students. Dedicated wrestling space gives our athletes a home, provides consistency, identity, and a place where students know they belong. Wrestlers, a sport is more than an extracurricular activity. It's where they develop discipline, confidence, teamwork, and relationships with coaches and teammates. To eliminate that space, we should not assume this program will simply continue on. The added time burden for the gym space alone isn't enough. Before making this decision, I respectfully ask the board to consider what spend after on setup, scheduling, maintenance, and likely lost participation. Most importantly, I ask you to consider the value of providing our students. Dedicated wrestling space and an investment in the program and the students who depend on it. Please don't measure a wrestling room only by the square footage it occupies. Measure it by what it allows our students, our program to accomplish. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next is Shannon Knapp.
As a district resident, I worked at EEP and I spent 6 years being at home driving my own family members to EEP. And I hope soon to see my grandchildren attend. Rare 4410 program. It's fully inclusive with all teaching and learning available to the students with and the preschoolers who are typically developing. This means the program from the staff to the curriculum to the toilets built for this age group. Benefit from a multidisciplinary team, and teams benefit from a centrally housed multidisciplinary program. In all of the future plans for the district as a whole to a new location. So far, other parts of the plan are taking shape without mention of the EEP. Perhaps because you're waiting to announce a fabulous future. Our community benefits from this program. Please consider maintaining it as the most amazing place for our children and their families to feel that they truly belong to begin.
Thank you. Next, we have Sherry Rotelli.
Hi, I am Sherry Rotelli. I was a physical therapist here for 30 years, pre-K through 12. I loved my career here, and for at least a short time, I worked in every single building, including the St. Took a pay cut to move here from Krause and have never regretted it. It was an outpatient of mine who was the parent of a disabled child who led me here, and I am forever grateful to her. My concern and message are simple, and just like Shannon's. Not separate the North Syracuse Early Education Program. Please do everything possible to keep it intact with its strong collaborative teamwork that offers so much effective service delivery to parents and their children who are our students. Became a staff and community concern because of the True North outline stating that in the year 27-28, pre-K would move to the elementary buildings, and we found out that Allen Road was no longer an option. It has since come to my attention that at this time, the pre-K move pertains only to the UPK program. I hope that is true, but we readers had no way of knowing that, hence our immediate worry and action. I know the current EEP building is challenging to maintain, and that a location change is and probably must be an option. We can be on board with that and would greatly appreciate being included in discussions about options in the future. We know our needs. We know how to use space well. We know our families and our students. Our experience and loyalty to the program as valuable assets to the future of the program. In my K through 12 time, I was usually the only PT in each building. I had some access to other therapists and teachers, but it was minimal and it was difficult to schedule. At EEP, I shared motor spaces with several other therapists and often pushed into classrooms with motor tasks, enabling a hands-on sharing of experience, skill, and creativity as we engaged and learned from each other, students and staff alike. Alone at K through 12, I was able to give them adequate. In collaborative time and space with an extended team at EEP, I was able to give them great. Not bragging. Our students and their families deserve, need, and have the right to greatness. In our current location, we have worked hard over many years to create accessible spaces and a store of functional devices to support movement, language, regulation, engagement, and independence. Our new space would have to have that potential. Smooth surfaces, open spaces, and the ability to readily share, adapt, and maintain these devices in a timely manner is crucial to our greatness and the future success of our students. Separated model could fulfill the requirements of the individual, but NSEP fulfills the spirit of the law, which is so much better, so much more effective, and again, what our community of families and students thrive on. Remember us, our unique skills and needs and our experience, and let us help plan for our future to continue being.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Christine Walsh. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christine Walsh. I'm here with my husband, Brian, both of us retired educators. Brian with 33 years of high school teaching, and I retired from SUNY Oswego after teaching 32 years in the School of Education. My career was spent working with administrators, teachers, and students in dozens of schools across central New York. Most importantly, though, I'm the mom of a young adult with autism who attended your Main Street school for 2 years in the early 2000s. By far the hardest but most joyful and important job I'll ever have is raising our special needs son. Nonverbal until just before kindergarten, James was born at 24 weeks, weighing 1 pound, 2 ounces, labeled failure to thrive, in the NICU for 3 months. His first few years were filled with surgeries, doctor's appointments, home nurses. Academics were not a priority for us. We just wanted to see some milestones like talking, pointing, smiling, singing. We knew little about autism. Your staff educated us. Your teams of teachers, therapists, and aides work together to plan quality learning experiences for diverse learners at this age level. They are experts. It is specialized work requiring planning, equipment, spaces, and scheduling that supports ongoing collaboration and communication. Our most vulnerable kids need all of this under one roof. Despite his setbacks, James left your nurturing classrooms a really happy child, just starting to speak, and he entered kindergarten at 4 years old with a love of reading, writing, and learning. Now, James is 26. He has a 2-year college degree from OCC. He has a part-time job, a girlfriend, drives his own car, and he rarely stops talking. So you have this inclusive, amazing model that works to give all pre-K students the best start. You support young children in the least restrictive environment. You teach children, but you also teach and support families who then continue your work long after our kids leave you. And we have never in our travels witnessed a school that delivers what Main Street School delivers. So if change must come, then make this an opportunity to dream big about how to take this gold mine that you already have and let it keep shining. Put your best resources here to maintain this long history of efficacy and help them make their best even better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Bridget Bowen. Welcome.
My name is Bridget Bowen. I have taught at CNS for 23 years. I have been lucky enough to have some of you as students, mentors. My husband and I have lived in the district for 20 years, and our children have attended the junior high, Roxborough Road Middle School, Allen Road Elementary, and our youngest started her career at Main Street. Our daughters are 17 months apart, so it was very apparent that our youngest was not meeting the milestones that our sister had. Pension supports in our house starting at 18 months. I had heard how wonderful Main Street was before. And it until you see the magic firsthand. When we came to our IEP meeting, I had to bring in more chairs for all the specialists she would need. In my eyes, they were met with kindness and a plan. Let me share with you a little. At 3, my daughter was nonverbal, leaving average award. Entering Main Street, the sensory of different fabrics was very difficult. I bought 20. She now switches clothes from school clothes to a cross-country uniform without a thought. Not have the bilateral control to do a jumping jack or jump, and she has now played the cello for 4 years and scored outstanding on her NSCSD solo. When she entered Main Street, she would only participate in what is called parallel play and had no interest in playing with anyone. The work of her play therapist, she now that a lot. She will say she does not play anymore, but is what seems constantly on the phone with her friends discussing anything and everything. My girls joke that whatever grade they're in, I currently feel those teachers are doing the hardest job, and I think they're superheroes. I think they're all superheroes. I know each grade level plays a different role in an important job. As an AP Calc teacher, I get to see the lovelies as they head off to the next big step. I get to see the celebration. And while AP Calc is awesome and I have a lot of fun, I consider myself the fondant flower on top of the cake. Main Street makes the cake. Foundation of our children's education. Without them, I don't exist. Goes to the bakery to find the fondant flour. I will forever be indebted to these amazing educators. And when my daughter was at Main Street, I needed everyone to know how wonderful they were. So I started writing yearly letters to the superintendent about how wonderful the educators had done. If anyone would like to read those letters through the year, I would happily share the Google.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Heather Dons. Welcome.
That's not including the time that their father had as a. And with mats on the floor. Or challenge themselves. Wrestling is one of the most physically and mentally requires strength, conditioning, discipline. Wrestlers have to learn how to keep going even when they get those that don't just help on the mat, they help them in school, at work, and in their everyday lives. Having a dedicated wrestling room is important because it requires a lot of practice. The room gives coaches the ability to run practices properly, gives the athlete would make it much harder for the team to train. Our team gets together. Where the athletes see their high school role models on the walls with their accolades hanging up. This is where wants to accomplish the same things. Oldest son Kennedy Thomas was a 3-time section champ, state placer, because he had the wrestling room. We had the room for the coaches to run practices not only in season but off season as well. My son Caden Welch has been following those same footsteps as his brother, except for he placed higher at states. Caden is also the first CNS boy wrestler to ever make it to Fargo Nationals, which is the toughest tournament in the US. This wouldn't have happened without having the wrestling room with the coaches running off-season practices. Having that room taken away from us, we won't be able to have off-season practices. Taking that room away means that we will have to take at least an hour or an after practice to set the room up. That leaves the kids with an hour left to practice. For just an hour practice with such a combat sport. And then they have to clean the mats to keep away from skin infections, which is health hazard. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. If you'd like, you can leave her. Just as a reminder to everybody who spoke, if you do want your written comments to the board, you can give them to Jill after this portion of the meeting is done. Next, we have Jessica Spicer. Welcome.
My name is Jessica Spicer, and I am speaking regarding the recent utilization and the deeply unsettling rumors surrounding the future of North Syracuse early education program. As the board considers facility reconfiguration, structuring, have idea that NC might be uprooted, scattered across the district is terrible. Actually does. Strongly urge the board to quiet these rumors. As one complete program. Splitting up this program based on theoretical space solutions and specialized foundation childhood education. As you review the actual proposals, I ask the board to consider 3 realities. First, safety infrastructure. Standard elementary buildings are built for older children, fundamentally incompatible with the safety needs, many of whom have significant mobility, physical, developmental needs. On equipment that's unsafe for their size, and restrooms that are non-adaptable. Retrofitting multiple schools to meet the massive unnecessary expense on the district. Second, program dilution. General education and special education students by side, sharing dedicated physical and occupational therapy suites. By staff, reduces their success and strips away the targeted environment these young learners rely on. Delicate transitions, pushing 3- and 4-year-olds, large bustling elementary environments compromises the secure, tight-knit community that critical issue for me. Before going into NC, when I say that she did, I truly mean it. Because of this unified special because of this unified specialized care, and from struggling to communicate, following directions, and becoming significantly independent. I needed that reboot, sorry. It's okay, honey. Splitting up NC breaks a model that isn't broken, purely to satisfy numbers on a spreadsheet. Please, reality, preserve NSEEP as one unified program, protect our youngest students, dedication to our district.
Thank you. Next, we have Dave Weiss.
Me, I speak from the heart of my. I'm not going to try to go over some of the things that. Evening, and thank you for listening to me during this session. My name is David Wise, and I've been a teacher, coach since we moved from Long Island in 1999. The people behind me include a very small population of the wrestling community who can make coaches, parents, wrestlers, alumni, wrestling supporters from other school districts have a wrestling room at their school and some club. All right, the reason why I'm addressing the board at this time pertains to the movement of the possible loss of the wrestling room field. There will only be 193 more students, our biggest class size in 2000. I was told about this movement further than a wrestling room or multi-purpose room. This is our home. French, an extension of athletes, these students, our athlete team in New York State every year and held the second highest GPA in section. There are countless reasons why we dedicated space to call our home. Hours on that, but we won't do that tonight. How did we get this room in the first place? I got it. Why? The health and safety implications. How did we get it done? When Wayne Blue, the assistant superintendent for the business, Hall of Fame coach made it a mission. I prioritize health and safety. Not only secure the dedicated space for our team, but athletic facilities in New York State. Not only our assistant superintendent, mentor, coach, and friend. Presence every day I walk in that room. Coaching style is often echoed throughout that room, and I still hear his voice. Our home, no, his home. God rest his soul, but his legacy will always live through that. I'm here tonight to be mindful of this process, okay? Our student athletes.
Thank you. We have Sean Aldrich. Welcome.
Is it on? Okay. My name is Sean Aldrich. I am a 2025 CNS graduate and former CNS varsity wrestling captain. I spent 7 years wrestling underneath Coach Wise and the wrestling program. Now I am hearing about the wrestling room potentially being taken away from the wrestlers. This does not sit right with me. In the past 5 years, we have won 2 team section titles. We've also had 7 individual men's section champions, 2 women's section champions, 12 men's state reps, 4 women's state reps, and 3 total state placers, all of which have been in the past 5 years post-pandemic. Last year alone, we had 72 wrestlers listed on the roster on the men's JV varsity team alone. Those are the facts. Those are our successes. And that's not even counting the sectional places we had, which would be another impressive number on its own. All of that occurred in the wrestling room at CNS. This program has grown exponentially, with the number of kids interested in wrestling increasing each year. All of this happened in one room, and that was the wrestling room at CNS. It's the only space where they have complete control, focusing on improving themselves not only as wrestlers, but students and human beings. Because outside of that room, it's out of the coaches and team's control. Only one wrestler on the mat at a time in matches. It's the space where we control the outcomes, where we control the improvements. Furthermore, we've shared this space with the school for test gym classes, and I feel we've been very flexible with how the room is used, especially the wrestling mats. We have made that space our home, even if it's for only 2 hours a day. A lot of us wrestlers think it's therapeutic and look forward to going into that room every single day to wrestle. It was a second home for me and for all the other wrestlers I've had the blessing to interact with. Taking it away would seriously affect the team in their ability to improve as student athletes. It removes a sense of belonging at CNS and makes us seem not prioritized even after all of our achievements. Now, we are the ones that are suffering because of a decision that I feel doesn't directly involve us. So I will say this, don't remove our wrestling room. How much space would that really create? Don't take away their room, because for you guys, it's just a gap to be used for classrooms, but for us, it's a way of life. And I hope that's something you guys can all understand.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And like I said, if anyone would like to leave their written comments to Jill, please do so, or you can email them to her as well. Okay, we'll move on to our Board of Education committee reports. Legislative and legislative? No. Okay. Dr. Ward.
Good evening. Just had a couple of quick updates and an invite for our Board of Education. As many of you know, one of my district goals this year is to work on culture. I've shared those goals with you and the rest of our administrative team. I'll be sharing those goals also with the rest of the school district coming in the opening day, which is September 2nd at 8 o'clock. So if you can make September 2nd at 8 o'clock, you're going to get another invitation as a reminder, but I just wanted to put that out there. Part of the program, you'll get to hear me talk about goals and True North and things like that. But the other part of the program is listening to a gentleman named Dr. Anthony Muhammad. Dr. Anthony Muhammad is the author of the book, Transforming School Culture. And that's something that, again, one of my goals here in the district. We heard a lot about culture tonight in some of the comments. And he's a wonderful speaker. I've seen him speak probably over 5 times. And again, if you can make it, I think that would be a great time and well spent. The other thing I wanted to mention is Don and I have been meeting with different representatives. Most recently, we met with Micron representatives, as well as representatives from Kathy Hochul's office, just to talk about the impact and about True North and what we want it to be and what we're trying to create here at in North Syracuse. So just updating the board on some of those conversations have gone really well. There are future meetings planned and things like that. So we'll keep you updated on that, but that's something that was encouraging. And I just wanted to say, as I had one of my own children start fall sports today, just want to wish luck, even though, football started last week. I understand that. But I wanted to wish good luck to all of our fall athletes this year, and wishing them a wonderful, great season. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ward. Any Board of Education comment? Okay. Mia, anything from you? Oh, yes. For asking.
So last week, I went to a very productive summer meeting for the principal's cabinet, and together we brainstormed a lot of ideas to help include our students, staff, and community and make positive changes within our district. So one of our major ideas was bringing up the idea of pep rallies at the high school again. And obviously, we would need more time to look over the logistics. But the students were very excited when they were discussing it and hoping to kind of collaborate with other clubs as well to make that happen, which I think is awesome. Additionally, I shared some of my goals that I shared with you guys a couple meetings ago with the group as well as the associative. And Mr. Villeneuve shared with me that he's in charge of the club fair at the beginning of the year. So I'm excited to work with him of the statistics, involvement in the extracurriculars, and everything else.
Awesome. Thank you. Routine action items. Do I have a motion to approve the regular minutes from August 10th? Mandy and Carol. Questions? All those in favor? I'll take B and C, a motion to take B and C together as a group, the consideration, classification, and placement for students. Do I have a motion for that? Bill and Mark, any questions? All those in favor? And item D, the declaration of marketable and non-marketable surplus. Do I have a motion to accept that list as submitted? Mark? Questions? Thank you. Discussion action items. We have quite a few roll calls this evening, so first one is not. The first one is the request for approval for the tax collection and collection and deposit agreement. Resolution that we have to approve. So do I have a motion to approve that as submitted? Amanda and Mark, any questions? All those in favor? Bill, there's the authorization for tax warrants. All three towns are in here individually listed. Should we take them all together, or do you want me to take each town separately, even though it's in the same? Separately, okay. So the first one is to we're on B, right? B, okay. B is, no. My iPad's not updating. Okay, so the first one is to establish the tax rate for the town of Cicero. Do I have a motion for that? Mark? Andy? Okay. Yeah. Next is approving Town of Clay. Do I have a motion for that? Josh and Carol. Okay. Yes. And last is the Town of Salina. Do I have a motion to place that before us? Mark and Cheryl. Thank you. Okay, and the last one here for a roll call is the establishment of the tax rate. Or the rates for each of the towns. Do I have a motion to place that before us? Mark and Josh. Thank you. Yes? Next is a request to create some extra classroom accounts for some new clubs up at the high school for this upcoming school year. Quantum Physics Club, Environmental Club, and World Languages Club that have been submitted by Joe Redmond. So do I have a motion to approve those new accounts? Carol, any questions? All those in favor? Have a resolution to create got a 1.0 FTE occupational therapist, 1.0 FTE speech language pathologist, and a 1.0 FTE teacher on special assignment behavior specialist. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution for those positions? Josh and Mark, questions? Got a school monitor position. We have a motion to create a 0.25 FTE school monitor position with Gillette Road Middle School. Do I have a motion to approve that? Josh? Don, is this normally, is this a new person or is this somebody who's, but it's a current employee? To say it's what we've done in the past, right? Yeah, okay, yep, yep. All those in favor? We have a couple of memorandum of agreements to approve tonight. The first one is between the North Syracuse School District and the North Syracuse Education Association and the Association of Middle Managers for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2028. I have a motion to Mark and Mandy. Any questions? Our next one is a memorandum of agreement between the North Syracuse Central School District, the North Syracuse Education Association, and the North Syracuse Teaching Assistants Association for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2028. Do I have a motion to approve that MOA as submitted? Any questions? All in favor? Okay. Much. We have an amendment to our board schedule. We originally had a meeting scheduled for April 26th, 2027. That is going to be moved to April 19th, 2027. Do I have a motion to approve that change to our calendar? Cheryl and Carol, any questions? All those in favor? Next, we have an amendment. Our compliance officer, I believe this is normally a org meeting appointment, right? Usually at the org meeting. Do I have a motion to amend that appointment? Mark? Josh, any questions on this? That's unanimous, thank you. Before we move into personnel, I just want to acknowledge a retirement. We have Kenneth Stockwell, Custodian 1, is retiring with 25 years of service. So as always, we like to wish all of our retirees a long, happy, and healthy retirement and thank them for their years of commitment, dedication, and service to the school district and community. Do we need an executive session before we move into personnel items? Okay. Personnel item A, I'm going to make an amendment. We are going to remove out Maddie Thorne and Dennis Segru to the next board meeting agenda. Everything else will remain on. Do I have that amended? Do I have a motion for that amended? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Thank you. Next, support staff B. Do I have a motion to approve that as submitted? Mark and Mandy, any questions on this item? All those in favor? At this time, I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of one personnel matter with no action to follow. Do I have a second? Josh, all those in favor? Thank you very much, everybody.